Hi everybody, my name is Mary Lagakis Engel. I'm the management coach and I am so glad that you are able to join me today. Today I want to talk about a subject that I know is probably pretty important for you, and that is how to deal with difficult employees who are frustrating you to no end, and how to overcome those frustrations so that you can be more productive and have more fun at the office. Now, I have been working with managers for about 8 years, and I can tell you that one of the things that breaks my heart the most is the emotional turmoil that you and your direct reports have to go through when there's a difficult employee who is occupying your time and your energy. And you know, it does waste a lot of time and energy, and I certainly have seen over the years people who have been able to master this and people who will continue to struggle with it. So what I wanted to promise you today is that I will give you a few key insights that will virtually eliminate your people frustrations forever and will allow you to be more enthusiastic, more productive, both individually and with your team. So what we'll talk about I want to mention to you the 4 styles of management and the single style that we would need to focus in on so that you can virtually eliminate all of that frustration. We'll talk about some of my research that I've done that helps you understand exactly where to focus. And then I want to share with you the most surprising misconception that managers have about themselves and that you likely have about yourself, which may be tripping you up when it comes to handling and managing your most difficult employees. There are 4 styles of management that we need to be aware of so that we understand how this one single style that's going to eliminate our employee frustrations for good, how that one single style is going to help us become more masterful managers, less frustrated certainly. There are 4 styles of management that you may have read my article about that are the I style, which is more of an autocratic style. It's I want you to complete this task for me. It's a very instructional style of management. The we style is more of the collaborative style. It's the person who asks, how are we going to solve this problem together? Then there is the you style of management, which speaks about having the interest primarily in the other person, your employee. And the you style of manager is typically the one that asks questions like, how are you doing today? What can I help you with? When do you think you might be able to finish the report? What do you want to do in your future career? Those are the you style of manager questions, and those are of course very different than the it style of manager, who is primarily focused on policies and procedures, and they're going to be asking it kinds of questions. What does the book say? What does it do? And the one that's most important that we know both through my research and also because one of the biggest companies in the world that I'm sure you and I both hold in very high regard focuses in on this as part of its management system. So let me tell you about that. That is Google, and Google has 8 rules of management that they have found to be the most productive rules that drive their results forward. So I quickly want to share those with you, and I also want to compare and contrast them with the research I've done over the last 8 years. The first rule is to be a coach and to focus on feedback and performance and helping employees grow from their strengths. The second rule is empowerment and being there, making sure not to be micromanaging. Be interested in your employees is the third rule of management, showing that you care about people and their success and their well-being. The fourth rule is to be the grown-up, or as the Google people put it, don't be a sissy, be productive, be results-oriented. The fifth rule, listen and communicate. Really hearing what your employees want you to be doing, or hearing what their struggles are, but also communicating information in an effective way. The sixth rule, career development, making sure that your employees understand what their future looks like and that they are working towards that future and that you are, of course, helping them. The 7th one is strategy, having, excuse me, having a clear vision and strategy for your team. And the 8th one, which surprised me the most, is technical chops, having the solid technical skills. And I think you and I would probably look at Google and say, you know, one of the things that must be extremely amazing about them is their incredible technical capacity to be building these massively popular and effective search engines. And in truth, when we look at their management system, the first 7 items on the list have absolutely nothing to do with technical chops. It has everything to do with being a you style of manager and probably also a little bit of a we style of manager. And that's to say that it's very high on the relationship orientation scale. And of course, I talk about that more when I teach my Coach Approach training course for managers and help you understand really what the distinction is between these different 4 styles of managers. Now, one of the things that I also want to compare this to is the research that I've done over the last 8 years, working with over 800 teams and asking them, really truly asking the employees, what is it that they expect or want most from their managers? Now check this out. Here's what they said. The first most important thing that they want from their managers, and this was consistent across the board, is coaching and mentorship. Truly, purely learning the ropes from their manager about how to be successful. The second one, feedback and performance management. Tell me what I'm doing wrong so I can fix it. The third most important was keeping the team focused, and that, if you look at Google's list, has a lot to do with strategy and providing vision and direction. The 4th was communication and transparency of information, making sure that the team is well informed and that they have a line of sight between what they're doing day to day and how that fits into the bigger picture. The 5th item that the team asks is champion the team and really be an advocate and an ambassador for the team's efforts and the team's results. And this is actually something else that I teach in my Coach Approach course, is how do you champion your employees so that they really feel like you've got their back. And a lot of times when you're having a difficult employee situation, this could be one of the key coaching proficiencies that is lacking in terms of how you work with the team. The 6th item, of course, is spending time on the team's key initiatives, those big projects that really are going to occupy your time and effort. And if you could focus on those things, then the team can focus on some of the more day-to-day tasks. It's one of those things that allows you to stop micromanaging and focus on the big picture. So as you can see, there's a lot of consistency between the research I've done and what Google has been implementing for a number of years around their 8 rules of management. So I want to share with you the #1 most surprising misconception that managers have about themselves that could get you into trouble with your employees and could make things more difficult, especially when you've already got a difficult employee. And this is the disconnect between your intention, what you would like to communicate or what your values are, and the behavior that you actually demonstrate. And I want to give you an example to illustrate that point. So I have a client, and I won't mention his name for privacy purposes, who is a manager in an organizational IT department. And he has a team of about 10 people who are all very technically competent and pretty smart individuals. Now, one of the things that we do in my coaching program is we gather 360 feedback from the individual employees and also the peers and the bosses of my client, so that we can understand which of these 4 styles of management is going to be the most important one to work on. And with this particular client, it turned out that there was one particular skill, and it was called listening, that they really wanted my client to focus on. Now, this really threw my client for a loop because his values and his intentions and his beliefs were very much aligned with the need to listen. He wanted his employees to feel heard and feel engaged and involved in what they were doing. But it wasn't coming across. So let me tell you what the specific behaviors were that were coming across, which were completely inconsistent with the original intention. Interrupting people when they spoke. When somebody would come in to communicate a problem, huffing and puffing over the difficulty of that problem and making it seem like it was too frustrating for him to deal with. And finally, pushing his own point of view. And when you're pushing your own point of view and you're not adopting or adapting your point of view based on what people are telling you, you're often going to be perceived as not being a very good listener. So when these things came forward from the feedback that we got, you can imagine that it was really a big shift for this manager. And that illustrates the idea that sometimes your intentions are extremely different from what it is that you're doing in reality. Now, the thing that worries me most about that is about, I would say, 90% of you don't actually know that you have that misconception. And if you have a difficult employee, chances are this is the primary reason why you're not able to make a change in their behavior. Go ahead and recap what we learned in this video. The first thing is that we know the biggest frustration that most managers face is dealing with difficult employees. We also know that the most important style of management that's going to help you overcome that frustration and virtually eliminate that frustration forever is to learn the coaching behaviors, or what we also call the 15 coaching proficiencies. And I teach those 15 proficiencies in the Coach Approach course that I deliver a couple of times a year. We also learned the one most surprising, biggest misconception that managers have about themselves. And it can be very disappointing to learn that your intentions most of the time when you're dealing with a difficult employee don't match your actual behavior. So the answer is, when you learn the skills and proficiencies in coaching and you adapt your behavior, 9 times out of 10, you are going to be able to eliminate your people frustrations forever. So I'd like you to do one thing. After this video, I would like you to go out there and see if you can identify the behavior that is not quite consistent with your intention all of the time, and see if you can change it. And of course, as always, go ahead and post a comment in the comment box below. Let me know what you think of this video. And be kind to one another. Go out there, be nice. Until next time, this is Mary Lagakis Engel signing off as the management coach.
Welcome to Imagine More. I'm Deb Mays, Coaching Director. It's lovely to have you visit. At Imagine More, we do a specific kind of life coaching that we call excellence coaching. And that's because we know that every human being is exceptional in ways they haven't yet discovered. And that will include you too. So excellence coaching is about us using the skill and training we have to help you uncover your potential and increasingly excel at what's important to you. You can make application in 2 areas of your life: peak performance or leadership. Peak performance is about you performing at your best consistently, and leadership is about the way in which you influence other people. On our services page, we have lots of information about our services, coaching, training, all kinds of programs, masterclasses. So I leave that to you to have a look at. What I'd like to talk to you about is our peak performance model, because that's really unique to Imagine More. Myself, my personal background, growing up with a language disorder and overcoming that in such a way that people rarely guess that I have ever had a language disorder has taught me a lot about the role that language plays in our experience. And having had dyslexia, leaving high school illiterate and teaching myself to read has taught me a lot about our capacity for cognitive flexibility. And then having overcome depression and anxiety and chronic fatigue syndrome, very rich experience that I can share with you about how we can manage our emotional states to really have a very enjoyable life. That, together with my professional background, having studied classical psychology as well as applied neuroscience, and now having conducted thousands of coaching sessions with all kinds of people all over the world, what I've come to understand is that our current reality, that's your current life situation, is a result of just three things. And that's your patterns, the little things that you're doing daily that are repeated over are creating a big result, as well as your stories and questions. And I have a link to a blog on those three things. I encourage you to read them now, because even without coaching, just knowing that will make a difference in your life. So I invite you to explore the website, and it's my hope that you will take away some things that make a big difference. And if you find something that you think resonates with you and you'd like just a little conversation about how that might apply to you or how you can overcome some particular thing at the moment, we have a way that you can contact us, and I really welcome you to make contact, and it would be my joy to talk with you and support you. So I look forward to speaking with you, and bye for now.
Hi, I'm Sharon Worsley from Toronto, Canada, and I'm really grateful to have this opportunity to talk to you today and encourage you to support the Pakistani Social Entrepreneurship Academy. I was deeply moved by the mission of this academy to help so many people become entrepreneurs. I think sometimes as entrepreneurs ourselves, or just human beings, we're looking for a way to give back to other people, whether they're in our own backyard or somewhere else in the world. And you and I both know we can't ever do anything in our lives and be successful without the help of other people. This is your way of helping someone else, to make a difference to somebody else that you may never meet. But just think of the ripple effect that will occur once you donate and help in any way possible to make this a successful venture. So I definitely and strongly recommend that you join me and all the others that have gotten on board so far to be able to help all these people in Pakistan make a difference, not only in their own lives, but those of their family and their community and their country and eventually the world. So please join us.
Thank you so much for listening to the support and endorsement of one of the world's top trusted advisors. The reason our initiative has received so many prominent endorsements like this one is because we are helping impoverished but ambitious young people learn how to provide for themselves and their families in some of the poorest areas of the world without the need for continuous charitable handouts, and even employ people under them as they grow and succeed. Now, when I visited various villages and schools in some of the poorest areas of the country, the people were unbelievably hospitable. But they don't want handouts or a fish. They just want a little hand up or help learning how to fish. Now, your $100 sponsorship donation can easily help one thoroughly pre-qualified, vetted, and worthy applicant earn over $100,000 over their lifetime, which not only improves their life and their local economy, but we require they pay back your $100. So it can be used to sponsor yet another worthy applicant, which then sponsors another applicant again and again and again. So now you can see how your $100 donation becomes viral and can easily exceed the equivalent of $1 million in traditional charitable aid. And they will value it much more than a handout because you're giving them a hand up and they are earning everything they receive from this point on without a crippling burden of debt. Now this is viral entrepreneurial philanthropy at its best. And no other model has such a massive impact so fast and with such a small commitment on your part. So please make a $100 donation right now so it can create that $1 million impact by sponsoring one and eventually multiple ambitious young men and women who are the future job creators of their communities. And then you'll experience the feeling of making such a massive impact on a life and an entire impoverished economy, which also helps bring peace and stability to the region. Thank you for your generosity.